Hello, all Israel News viewers. I'm Oriel Moran. This is Levi from Discover Israel Tour with Levi. Levi, what are we standing on? Where are we?
We are in the heartbeat of Judea, in a place called Sebastia. Its strategic importance dominates anywhere else in this region. We're on top of the outer security walls of Sebastia, and we're going to go inside and explore this essential biblical location.
Guys, it's so exciting. Let's go explore.
Herod is given this city by Augustus in the year 30 BCE. He's given Sebastia to turn Judea into an example of a Roman city. Now Herod had his alliance with the Jews and he had his alliance with Rome, and he wanted to really turn this whole region into a proud Roman empire. Now how that aligned with the Jews, it didn't turn out very well at the end. But what he does do to this city is something that the city never saw before. He switches it to have classic Roman architecture, such as a forum, a center of life. He makes cardos, the city which goes from the north, the road that goes from the north to the south with all the markets. We're going to see bathhouses, we'll see temples here, we can see a hippodrome, we can see an amphitheater and also theaters, really a bustling Roman life. And this is where the key starts, and he starts changing Judea from a Jewish Hellenistic influenced Hasmonean country into a Roman country. We are standing on top of the Roman Forum. Over here, the layer underneath us, is the neglected side of the Forum, and on top of it the Crusaders came and they built a classic basilica style church with columns going down on both sides. We have the direction of prayer called a apse, and you can see the magnitude and the importance of this place during the Crusaders period. Now they've used columns which the Romans had to set up their Forum, and they changed that into the church that we're looking at now. We are walking into the Roman theatre, as every classic Roman city had. You had to have shows to keep the royals impressed and entertained, to make sure they didn't make any funny laws. So, of course, Herod builds a classic, beautiful theatre over here, and behind the theatre, just on the outside, isn't what you'd see classically inside of a Roman city, yet it's from the Hellenistic period, dating 200 to 300 years prior to King Herod, before he built his theatre. And it's a tower and storage houses which were built in those places. This is what most of the theatre would look like in the original bricks. Steps going up to the top, you'd had an exit way which they would call a vomitorium, which is funny because it would vomit people. We're standing in the area, it's called the orchestra, and the stage would have been a little bit further back here. There actually would have been a wall, instead of looking at the view, a wall standing behind the stage with columns, and this would have been Roman gladiator's point to come and show his muscles off. Here we're looking at the outer wall of the city of Sebastia from the Middle Iron Age, about 2,800 years ago. A significant part of the Bible where we see King Omri and King Ahab making this their capital, a turning point in the belief of one God. I'm standing on top of the king of the castle of the House of Omri, a 2,700-year-old Israelite fortress, and if we look around at this glorious 360 view, you can see why this was turned into the capital of Israel. I'm standing now inside of the King of Omri's capital, as we can see in Kings 1. And we can see the incredibly well-constructed ashlar square stones, which is a sign of great wealth and importance to this city. thousands of ivory pieces were found inside of his palace that I'm standing in right now. Gold chariots were here. Mentions from outside of biblical sources we could see that we found inside of the Beit Omri. There are more mentions archaeologically about the house of Omri, which then becomes the house of Ahab, with archaeology around our region with the Assyrian kings, so on and so forth, than there are mentions of the house of David. We're entering a Byzantine period church which was then reconstructed by the Crusaders. You can see classic Crusader architecture here in different places, and this was a very significant and important place. Looking at the entrance over here, we could see red granite. The only red granite quarries we have are over 500 kilometers south of us, all the way in Egypt. This was a status and a symbol to show this importance of this place. Come join me inside. We hear about a man named John the Baptist, Yochanan HaMatbil. His origins are debated where he comes from, but many believe that he was born inside of a place called En Karim and then secluded himself somewhat like a monk inside the desert in a place called Qumran. Now let's just read a couple words from the New Testament itself. We'll look at Matthew 14. For Herod had laid hold onto John and bound him and put him in prison for Herodias' sake, his brother Philip's wife, Salome. So this was the capital where we are right now of the Herodian glory and the palace of where it could be. And we are standing right now in the location where it's believed where the prison was of John the Baptist before his head was cut off.
So guys, sometimes you'll come to these places and they'll be open, sometimes they won't.
See if it's open anyway.
We're going to explore it anyways. So think about this. You are John the Baptist, Yochanan HaMatbil, and you've been serving Yeshua faithfully. And what eventually happens is that you are taken into prison, the very one that's over there, perhaps. It could be that. And you're offended eventually. You're offended because you thought that things would turn out differently. I can't imagine what he felt when he saw the guards coming for him to behead him. But what we know for sure is that he was offended at some point. And he didn't know if basically the kingdom of God had come, if what he did actually really made a difference. And Yeshua's answer to that is really special and really specific. He basically tells him the signs of the kingdom that comes. If all these things are happening, the kingdom has come. And I guess this is an encouragement to us that when we get discouraged, when we feel like things haven't turned out the way that we want to when we serve God, we need to think of the example of Yochanan HaMatbil. Things might not always turn out or end up the way that we want to, but the mission of God through us is always accomplished when we ask for it to be accomplished through us.
Standing over Shechem, one of the oldest biblical cities as early as Genesis, we can see the views of where we start sprouting the story of the Bible. It then continues to a place where the sons of Israel enter Israel, and they have this period where they get the blessings and the curse. On Har Bracha, the blessings mountain where we're standing now, was the good things that will happen, and the cursed mountains. Sebastia is on the side of the cursed mountains. We can see the king of Omri and Melech Ahab, the king of Ahab, where they go off the path of one God and they turn into disaster. They get obliterated by the Assyrians at the end. The curses become true.
Guys, it's been an incredible day. We've seen so much today, and also just overlooking Shechem and being here in Israel is such a privilege.
The Bible is a book that is respected by most of the people in the world. It's a book of direction and holiness. It's such a privilege to be able to stand in the places where these stories happen. It really ingrains me with my identity and creates these roots that I can grow a stable tree and live my life in the way of God.
I feel the same. Guys, thank you so much for watching. If you want more Israel-related content, go to allisraelnews.com, hit the notification bell, the subscribe button, and Levi and I will see you guys in the next one.